You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
What's up, the internet? It's Kyle. This is in stores this week. But first...
Hey, everybody. We got some big news breaking just now. And basically, Warner Brothers, who... If you've been watching my show, you know I've been really surprised how little Warner Brothers did at San Diego Con. And the fact that they never talked about Batgirl or Blue Beetle or any of that stuff. Well, we know now why they didn't talk about Batgirl. And this is coming from Variety and Deadline and every other reputable source, that the Batgirl movie, which has been finished filming, and stars Leslie Grace as Barbara Gordon and Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne Batman and J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon, and was even going to have Brandon Fraser as Firefly. It's done. It's canceled. Pulled the plug. The film has been filmed. They shot it. They're doing test audiences on it. The test audiences, some of them, from what I've been hearing, have been pretty good. It comes from the the Bad Boys for Life and Miss Marvel filmmakers, Adil El Arbi and Bilal Falal. It got green light in 2021. It's a done deal. It was going to go straight to HBO Max. They pulled the plug. It is done. It's getting shelved. It's not going to come out anywhere. It's not going to the theaters. It's not going to HBO Max. It was a $70 million budget. They went $90 million because of COVID, and they are going to eat it. The Warner Brothers execs, David Zaslav, the new Discovery guy, Alan Horn, the new consultant just brought in from Marvel. And it is really hard to figure out exactly why they're doing this. I know a lot of the big plan for the future of Warner Brothers was to bring in Michael Keaton, to have him be introduced in the Flash movie, have him show up in Aquaman 2, and have him appear in Batgirl. And they had other plans for him as well. Well, with Batgirl shelved, and we know that Ben Affleck is currently reshooting Keaton's scenes for Aquaman 2, and what the Flash seems to be a little up in the air. Like, yeah, it got moved back, but because of everything with Ezra Miller, it would not surprise me if Warner Brothers just clears the slate. They put out Black Adam, they put out Shazam, they put out Aquaman, cancel everything else, and just make a new plan. And I kind of think that's what we're getting. So that's the big news. Warner Brothers just killed Batgirl. So let's talk comic books.
What's up, everybody? It's in stores this week. There's Kyle. That's Jay. That's Dan. So Batgirl's dead. Batgirl's dead. Long live Batgirl.
Wow.
Yep. So you know what the start of tomorrow's Dan Wickline show is going to be? I've been talking about DC and Warner Brothers a lot lately because of the train wreck they are. And
so the start of tomorrow's show is going to be Lego Star Wars?
If you want to come on tomorrow for a segment and talk Lego Star Wars,
I will be, by the time you go live, I will be in line to meet FTR, Wardlow, and Chris Stadlander of AEW Pro Wrestling.
Okay.
I go on vacation tomorrow for 4 whole days. I'm not even taking my laptop with me.
Wait. Who the hell approved a vacation for you? When are you supposed to get a day off?
The people who saw me have to dye my beard as it turned white last week. Yeah.
Okay.
We have we could talk more about the actual reason for my vacation after we go off the air, but yeah, I need it. I didn't even take a vacation when I was in the hospital. So
True.
I'm taking a vacation to go see pro wrestling.
Nice.
All right.
So I think Dan's cold open was better than what I was going to do, where I was just going to dramatically read the lyrics to Paul Thorne's "It's a Great Day for Me to Whoop Somebody's Ass," because that's the kind of week I'm having. But Dan's was definitely better.
Yeah, see, I would have gone with "How many people want to kick some ass?"
No, it's one of those like, I am suffering from the Murphy's Law of weeks.
It's Tuesday.
Yeah, I know. Hey, you were the one who gave me a Project Superpowers book to read. That didn't not contribute.
Oh, goodness.
I figured we had to finish it.
Yeah,
that's true.
I read it because, well, it's the last book. I might as well read it.
Yep. Yeah, even I'm going, whoa, boy.
Yeah. So just as a side note, there were again shipping kerfuffles from Diamond to the West Coast and to what sounds like the southern coast of the United States. And of course. So just be cool when you go to your local comic shop, guys.
Yep.
If
you're mean to your comic shop owner, Warner Bros. Is going to cancel another movie.
Ooh, I'm gonna start being mean to everybody.
I was fixing to say, well, you gonna give him ammo.
But not the movies you want canceled.
All of them. Cancel them all. The one I wanted is out already.
Super Pets?
Yes. Which I've seen twice.
Of course you have.
Well, I went once.
Did you stay for the post-credit scene?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I went once with a group of friends who we go see all the superhero movies together, and once with my nephews. So,
Okay.
All right. Let's start with this.
Yeah.
I guess I'll start. And, thank God it's over. We have two other Dynamite books this week that I actually quite liked.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one is like that thing where you go to the buffet and what you think you've done is put on your plate like vanilla pudding, and what you've actually done is put on slightly old mayonnaise.
Perfection. That's a perfect way to describe it.
Yep. I'm familiar enough with the Project Superpowers to know what the Pandora thing was. But the fact that this whole thing was a Pandora's box an analog. And also, I've been reading a lot of the original Captain America books, Captain America comics from the 40s. Talk about propaganda.
It's true, though.
I mean, wow. It is one of the most heavy-handed finishes to a series I have ever seen in my life.
I finished this book and I was just like, what?
You could have stopped after book.
The ending just feels like, let's take every tropey thing we can do. Let's just take it all and just throw it in there. Why not?
Yeah.
Like who I've been waiting this whole time to figure out who this guy is. And to find out who he is, I was like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Blech. I'm glad it's over.
Yep. Yeah. I almost wanted to send you guys an apology note for including that one.
But you're right. We did need to finish the series. Like,
yeah.
There's something to be said for if you start something, finish it.
Who was the writer on this again?
This was Ron Mars and Andy Lanning.
Oh, my gosh.
And I like both of them.
Yeah.
But it was like, you know what? Looking at it now, too many cooks in the kitchen. Right? Each of those guys could have written the story independently, probably better than the two of them together. And so there were compromises, there were add-ins. You know, you could see it where it's, this is what Ron wanted to do, this is what Andy wanted to do. So, hey, here's a compromise. Let's just do this thing. And it didn't work.
All I know is that I started hearing Lee Greenwood at the end of this thing, and I didn't want to.
See, that isn't the song I heard. But the song I heard is maybe a little more jingoistic. So
I heard that, what is it, the Dennis Leary song?
I don't know. I just heard the battle hymn of the Confederacy. So
the A-hole song?
Yes.
Especially when they named him?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Come on.
That's fair. My favorite Dennis Leary song is Merry Effing Christmas. I can't think of any other Dennis Leary songs.
ASSHO.
Oh, that's a good one. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
I have a Dennis Leary CD in the car. I'll have to put it in on the way home.
Yep. All right, just get it off the screen.
Yes. All right. This next book I have second on the list because I wasn't shocked that it wasn't what I thought it was, but I'm still bummed it wasn't what I thought it was. This is Grim Spotlight Iron Maiden. I was really hoping that we would see Eddie on the cover, you know, and then there would be references.
The hills,
right.
Run for your life.
Right. I'm not shocked that that's not what it was, but you know, you could only be so disappointed.
Didn't it feel like they were creating the exact same character as was also in the book?
Yes.
100%. But I'll go ahead and take the lead on this one. Okay.
Oh, please.
Other than the 10-ply ending of this book, that was just super soft. Super soft. I actually kind of like this one. Is it weird that I liked it because the two characters were fighting each other? Probably. Might be a little weird to some. Did it make this book more than just here we're going to throw two characters together like we usually do and do a team-up book and, you know, make them fight evil? Yeah, absolutely. I just like the fact that these two characters were fighting most of the book and they weren't teaming up. I felt like this was better than most of the Zenescope offerings we've been getting lately. Like, not by leaps and bounds, mind you, but I felt it was a little better. I just hope that moving forward, Zenescope stops worrying about what character they're going to put in the book and just make a good story. It feels like they really just, I mean, I know that you got to focus on characters. I get that. But their stories are just kind of like, they've been slacking a lot.
I think the problem, and this is, I don't know that it's a problem. I'm going to call it a problem, but it's the character of the Iron Maiden could have been any other Zenescope character. There's nothing about this that makes it specific to this character, that makes it specific to the Grimm universe. And so not having it be specifically, there's a reason that it has to be this particular character with this particular weapon at this particular time, means that the whole thing just lacks some panache that you get from the specificity that comes from, like, a Red Sonja book, where it has to be Sonja, it has to be those weapons, it has to be that style, it has to be that time. That gives it a certain flair, a certain, you know, whatever, and this doesn't have that. I will say, though, I did quite enjoy the art.
Yeah.
In this book. It was beautifully drawn. Everything was rendered really nice. The cover is a good example. Igor Vitorino does the covers, of course. But the interior, the flatting in the back, the every panel had a lot of depth, had a lot of movement. It was a really well drawn book, even if the story to me felt a little flat.
I kept hearing the old Bud Light commercial.
Real men, Real Men of Genius.
Nope, just twins. Because the headpiece, the outfit, I when I first started looking at it, I thought, oh, they've tweaked Black Knight's armor. No, but they made her a redhead, and they literally say, oh, you change your hair color all the time. It's like, I did not get the reason for this character. And they do seem to be creating a lot of cookie cutter characters over and over. And it's like the Black Knight is not an established character. We've seen like 2 issues, and now she's getting this potential ally. Yeah, it's just, they're just turning out IP at this point. And there's nothing to differentiate them. You know, I mean, she's not even, they could have made her Asian or any kind of minority, but she's just another white girl.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know.
Yeah, I want so badly for these Grimm Spotlight or these what's the other ongoing that they do every month? They do one a month. Grimm Fairy Tales Presents.
Yeah.
I want so badly for them to be fantastic. And every month they just kind of seem to be the same.
Yep.
All right.
They could even have made it like a teenage boy that becomes Iron Maiden. At least then it would have been some kind of weird twist.
True. All right. So this next book is not further down the list because, well, all of the books further down my list are pretty interchangeable. This was a really good week for comics for me. So we'll just start with Mirka Andolfo's Red SITHA. I think there have been times where Mirka Andolfo, as a writer, has maybe let the I'm Mirka Andolfo, the artist, overwhelm her scripting. But this, to me, wasn't one of them. This was a solid Red Sonja adjacent story. And in my view, it picked up the pacing. Or maybe not picked up, but changed what I felt had begun to drag a little bit. So, you know, for me, this wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. But it was just what it was supposed to be, which makes me happy for a Red Sonja book.
Yeah. I don't really have any feelings towards this book either way. I never got. You guys seem to have liked the character more than I did. You know, there was a lot of humor, and she never quite fit into the universe she lived in. But it's like, okay, they wrapped it up. I don't know. It didn't do much for me. It's not a bad book. It's just, you know, it's a consistent book. But yeah, there's so many Red Sonja titles right now that I prefer that. Yeah.
And if this is the end of the run, then this was a giant mistake, and I retract my liking of the book and go, really, this is where you're going to leave it? If this is the middle of a run, it's a much better book.
Well, it says the end at the end of it.
I understand, but like the end for now, or are they going to pick up in another mini? You know, that's what we don't know.
Well, I will look and see if there's anything on the horizon and let Jay talk.
It's over. I mean, oh no, it's over. I'm sorry. I haven't been the biggest fan of this book. Even when I got over my hang up about how she speaks, Uh, I read it for free, so I can't complain. But there's parts of it that I actually wanted to see this time. When she's going through the labyrinth and she talks about the battles they had. They skipped all that stuff, but left a bunch of boring stuff in. Like, I don't know. I felt like the writing it wasn't for me. But like I always say, that's just how I feel about the book. Trust your own judgment. Read it. Maybe you'll like it. But it's just not for me. I'm kind of glad we're not. I'm kind of hoping it's done.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything coming up for it. So,
well, I mean, and that's the thing, right? Like, if this is really the end, then yeah, it's a very different take on the book than if this is issue 4 of a 6 or 8 issue arc. So if that's the case, then yeah, this was very disappointing. I suppose I probably should have checked. That's what happens.
yeah.
All right. So, like all the rest of the books we had this week, I really quite enjoyed. So we'll start with we get to see 3 of my favorite kaiju in one book.
You have favorite kaiju?
I do. In this order, it's Godzuki, Mothra, Batra, Godzilla, and then Mecha Godzilla.
I know a lot about the Godzilla universe because of Lisa's son is a big fan of it. So I've been hearing for years about the different characters, and he's obsessed with fake Godzilla or Mecha Godzilla. But Badra was a new one to me. I was not aware of Batra. I loved the art in this book. I thought it was actually really good. And enjoyed the read. It was nice and pleasant, and it was a fun little story, and the humans were bad guys as they're supposed to be, and that was it. It's not brilliant. I'm not saying everybody should run out and buy it, but I enjoyed it.
I'm gonna be the odd man out on this one.
I could tell by the smirk you had.
This kind of felt like just a really long, preachy Greenpeace ad. I mean, not that I'm for pollution or anything, but
Was it as preachy as Project SUPERPOWERS?
No.
Okay.
No, that's got the top spot. But for me, it was like the thought I had reading this was, how could you have Godzilla and kaiju fighting and be boring at the same time? It bored me. I was bored by it. It definitely wasn't for me. I hope the next one. I know this is a one shot, but at the end, I guess there's going to be another Rivals or something.
Yeah.
I hope the next one's a little better.
See, for me, I liked that it wasn't about actually Godzilla or Batra or Mothra. It was about normal people versus religious fanatics. And that's really where the book lived, right? The kaiju and the battles were peripheral, almost towards, if you just blindly go wherever the wind takes you, like the religious fanatics in this book do. Oh, here's Batra. It's the end of the world. No, this is just a set of circumstances we have to deal with, right? That was what this is. That's why I liked it. Is it felt deeper than necessarily it might have been intended to be.
Yeah.
So I quite enjoyed that. Now, did we read Fox and Hare #1? Was I not here?
We did.
We did.
You were here.
Was I here?
Yep.
Are you sure?
Yep.
I don't remember this.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense then. Because I kind of like this book.
You kind of liked it before, too.
I liked the masks.
That's what you said then.
Yeah, okay. Well, then I stand by my previous statements.
Mhm. I like this issue a little bit more than the first one. It started building the actual universe. It felt like something unique was starting to build. The first one felt a little carbon copy to me. Like, haven't we read this before? But I did like the masks and the look of the characters and stuff. And this one's starting to build the universe. And I'm more curious now to see where it's going to go than I was. You know, we don't get a lot of Vault books. So when they do send them, I try to include them, especially if it's one, like I said, we've read previously or it's a number one or something. So this one definitely was going to go up on the list, but it's picking up and the art's good too. So it's a solid book from Vault. So
yeah, this was one that I've been excited for. I said that when we read the first one. I'm still really digging it. Usually the spunky kid side character, they usually annoy me because they're just a little too spunky, a little too combatant. Aurora's not. She's got a little bit of an attitude, but it doesn't feel like overbearing. So
yeah,
I really like that about her. This issue, for a small part of it, kind of felt filler to me, just for a little bit. But then when we got to the end, of this, I was like, "You're really going to end it here? Smart. You upset me though, but smart, because now I really, really want to get that issue 3. I cannot wait." This series is 2 for 2 in my book. I've enjoyed both issues.
All right. Jeff Wedding. I'm reading Jeff Wedding's. Kyle's clearly on point and in touch with what he likes, even if he doesn't recall. Jeff, yeah, I don't remember a lot of things.
he's still going to get to vacation tomorrow.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember reading issue 1 of that book, but I liked the world it was set up in. It kind of reminded me like a futuristic Big Trouble in Little China kind of concept, or a Escape from New York kind of world. Yeah. So that's super fun for me. Also, the masks.
Yeah.
All right. This one has a lot of what I like in it, i.e. Frankenstein. Also Mike Mignola.
I like the book. I love that it's Mike Mignola and Christopher Golden and Tom Snigoski. I like Peter Bergting's art. I've seen him on some other things I don't remember off the top of my head, but I remember the name Bergting before and having to write that when I was back at Bleeding Cool. My only issue with the book, and it's not that it's not good. It's a good story. I enjoyed it. It feels a lot like what they're doing with Star Wars right now. Taking a somewhat stoic character, teaming them with a child, and putting them on a journey. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's Mandalorian. It's, there's another one they did it with too, but yeah, it just seems to be the thing they're doing in Star Wars now, the lone wolf and cub. And it's like, do we really need it here in Frankenstein? I mean, I love the fact that it's the monster, it's Adam, but the little kid, it's like, do we? I realize that as a writer, you need that foil, you need the voice, you need something for the character to speak to. Having just either by himself where he's not talking to anybody or just speaking for no apparent reason doesn't make sense. So I get that from that point of view, but it just feels like it's being done so much nowadays.
My thing is that's different about this is when you look at Mandalorian, and I haven't watched Obi-Wan, so I don't know I don't know exactly what that setup looks like, but to me, this character, the Cub in this Lone Wolf and Cub, is a little more involved in the world than, say, Grogu, at least at first, right? This little girl is the impetus for the journey. Like, she's the one having the vision. She's the one with the power. She's the one that's driving the car.
Yeah.
So I like that kind of twist on it. And again, we don't know what we don't know about it yet, so it may feel that way right now, but is that going to get flipped on its head in issue 2? We just don't know yet.
Right. This ties into another book we've read, right?
No.
There was something we read. There's the character that has the BPRD logo on his shirt with the sword that they find in the cave. And he turns it into a spear. It feels like we've read what happened to him already.
Yeah, I don't have any recollection of that at all.
Okay.
Yeah, if we have, I forgot to.
Right. Me not remembering is not a big deal, but like
there's I'll say this. This was an interesting story. It was a bit of a slow burn for me. I love the beauty of the topside when they made it there, but I had to like, is this still like regular Earth? Just because of like the plant life and some of the animals that were there. Not knowing a lot of the Hellboy comic lore, other than the cameo of the person that I don't even know, which Dan said the guy with the logo on the shirt. I couldn't tell you how exactly this fits into the Hellboy world, but at the very least, there wasn't a time when I was reading this where I was like, man, I wish Hellboy was in this. So, I mean, I liked it.
yeah.
Yep.
All right. So this next book doesn't technically come out till next week. This is just called 007.
Doesn't come out till next week. It's supposed to be out this week.
According to every list I can find, it is released the 10th.
Huh.
It certainly wasn't on my previews world list this week.
You're right. It was sent out by Dynamite, but
and it
yeah.
may have been supposed to originally come out this week and just be delayed for whatever cockamamie reason.
But it's the best book of the week.
Disagree.
I know. I can tell by the way you're doing these. I think it's the best book of the week.
Oh, it's 1A and 1B, but this is certainly 1B for me.
Yeah, this felt like a real James Bond story to me. And, yeah, I liked it a lot. I like the interpretation of Bond. I like how he deals with the opening situation. I love the fact that we get another 00 agent, at least in the story. One that's actually been at it longer than him. There's some really good, pieces here that I like. And this is Philip Kennedy Smith?
Kennedy Johnson.
Philip Kennedy Johnson. I knew it was one of those generic last names. Him coming over to Dynamite for the first time, and I'm really liking it. I haven't read a lot of his stuff, but this is really good. Good art, too.
Yeah, for me, I've never read any of the books, and I've only seen the movies up until I think the last one I saw was Pierce Brosnan's last one. I've never seen any of the Daniel Craig ones or anything like that. So I don't know how accurate this is to anything. But that being said, I really, really like this book. Like, even if you know nothing about, 007, you never read books, watched movies, read this comic. It's fantastic. Like, this was a very, very good opening issue, and I just hope that the following issues can keep it up. I really enjoyed it.
Dan, you want to tackle this question as our resident Ian Fleming expert?
This is a new story. It's not an adaptation. So, yeah. So this is
the last few series they've done have been, right?
Yes. But they've been basing them off of the novels. So they're not interpreting the films, or they're not taking it from the film universe. They're working from the actual Ian Fleming novels, that world, but it's still original stories from that world.
All right.
And that's a cool cover, by the way. I didn't see that cover, but I like that one a lot.
It really is.
It's like Ben Affleck as James Bond.
Don't start something that Warner Brothers can't cash, Dan.
Warner Brothers doesn't have Bond. Amazon does.
They'll find a way to screw it up.
Because Amazon bought MGM.
They'll find a way to screw it up. All right.
Yalo's the new Bond girl.
Carl Urban for Bond.
I can't. I just can't even right now. All right. So last book for us for the week, because it wasn't a big week for us.
Yeah.
Last book for the week for us. Dan knows why I love this book. Jay knows why I love this book. This is called Survival Street #1. Jay, do you want to start, and then we can wrap back around so I can rant and rave for a minute?
All I got to say is yes.
Hang on. 1 sec. Let me answer Master's question. There are no Valiant books shipping this week, so we're not actually covering any Valiant books. But we do cover Valiant books regularly when they come in. So there was none on the list this week, but we definitely covered. If you check out our show on YouTube, you can see our thoughts on Book of Shadows, which all three of us loved. So that was last week's show. Okay.
More of this, please. More of this, please. I love this from start to finish. When I first saw the solicitation for it, I was like, yep, I'm in. I don't even have to. Just looking at the cover, I was like, yep, I'm in. And it didn't disappoint. I felt there was a message in this that wasn't like super preachy like I felt the Godzilla one was. The lines were funny. The action was great. It's like somebody took Sesame Street, the Happy Time Murders, and there was an episode of the cartoon version of Black Dynamite that had Muppets in it.
Mm-hmm.
And just blended them all together and made a comic, and I'm already excited for issue 2. This was my favorite book this week.
How to get to Survival Street? Yeah, this James Asmus has some issues.
He should not get any help for them, though.
No.
Would help him.
Yeah. By the way, he wrote a lot of Valiant books. He was writing Quantum and Woody and did some amazing stuff over there. This is a fever dream of something. The man's not right. He and I don't know who Jim Festante is, but together it's almost like it's making it worse. You know, this is a very demented book, but it's fun. So if you're looking for something completely different, completely out there, silly, but at the same time a little disturbing, this is the book for you.
Yeah. So if you go back to the 70s, when Henson was doing bits for SNL, right? Puppets have always had, and before that, Punch and Judy, and there's a whole bunch of like puppeteering history we can get into. which maybe not the show. Maybe Dan and I should do a Dan Wickline show on dirty puppets. But there's this whole big history of puppeteering of puppets being obscene, being vulgar, being violent.
Avenue Q.
Well, and that's where I was headed. It kind of went away in the 80s and 90s in favor of your Sesame Street, your Daniel Tigers, your some of those shows that are, were built for kids. The only place you really saw adult puppeteering was in shows like Dinosaurs. It doesn't hold up.
No.
It's on Netflix or something. I just rewatched it. Not great. But 2003 hits and Avenue Q comes out, and the whole world hears the internet is for porn for the first time, and our collective minds break as puppets become cool again.
Yep.
And that's what this is, right? This is a world that looks very much like what ours could look like if we don't, kind of rein in a few things very quickly. There's a scene, and Miss Jen talked about it on her show, where they're trying to drive into Florida, and their tag to drive on the road in Florida is no longer valid because the company who owns the roads no longer owns the roads, and the people who do the permitting no longer do the permit. So you just have to pay to drive in Florida.
Yep.
Which is something that I could see Florida doing.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Did you remember the cost?
Yeah, $1,776. Right, it's the puppets versus America. Which, wherever you come down on that kind of stuff is irrelevant, because this is a story about oppressed people. And in this world, the oppressed people are Muppets. What does the one person say? I'm a felt-based American.
Yeah.
That is the funniest line I've ever read in a comic. And then there's a scene where somebody uses a catchphrase from the old show, and then the puppet that's a sniper has to take a bunch of people out. Don't use the catchphrase; they'll find us out.
Yeah.
It's
so good.
Everything about this is taking some of the fringe things that are happening in this country right now, turning it up to 50, and then pitting it against the Muppets.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns into this, if you can find them and they take the case, you too can hire the cast of Sesame Street. Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah. And I love it's got the one human guy.
Right.
That's the best part. She's like,
Right. Like, this is if the A-Team were puppets, this is what this is. And I'm here for it in such a big way. Like, I'm having a terrible week, and this book has been the highlight.
By the way, anybody who wants some more puppet humor, and if they're not familiar with this guy, there is an Australian comedian.
Randy Feltface?
Randy Feltface, yes.
Oh, he's so good.
And I recommend going out and finding a YouTube video called Randy Buys a Bookcase.
Oh!
That is the best one. It's a long story, but it's so good. And you literally forget you're watching a puppet.
There's another one on TikTok called Chad the Bird.
Okay.
Check out Chad the Bird. He does almost like George Carlin-y spoken word rants about the Midwest.
Nice.
But they're very funny. So check him out too. But yes, Randy Feltface. Oh my God, Randy Feltface. And of course, if you haven't seen Avenue Q.
Right.
Yeah,
my ex-wife texted me one day. She says, "You got to check out Randy Feltface. Randy Buys a Bookcase." I'm like, okay. It's the funniest thing my ex-wife ever sent me.
No, it's true. I remember when I was in high school when Avenue Q hit, and my friends who are theater nerds come to me and go, "Kyle, you got to hear this musical." and they play Everybody's a Little Bit Racist. And I just remember laughing and laughing and laughing, and then hearing the internet is for porn, going, how do we get our director to let us do this? So,
Yep.
All right. Well, it was a short week this week, guys.
Yes.
We'll be back next week. And I would go ahead and guess that for those of you interested, we will have Archer and Armstrong number 4.
Probably.
As well as other comic books. But in the meantime, you can head into your local comic book shop to pick up books that we've talked about and other books that we haven't. There are some really cool books out this week that we haven't even mentioned yet. You should check those out as well. If you need help finding your local comic book shop, please head over to comicshoplocator.com. Type in the area code of where you are, or zip code, the 5-digit one. And it will tell you where there are comics nearby to you. I, for instance, am going on vacation. So I will be using Comic Shop Locator to find comic shops in the areas where I will be on vacation. Even though I already know where they are, I will be using Comic Shop Locator to find further shops. So use Comic Shop Locator and make sure you tune back in tomorrow at 5 o'clock for the Dan Wickline show, where Dan will be clearly talking about Lego Star Wars.
I don't know why he's pushing Lego Star Wars.
Because I don't want to talk about how Warner Brothers is screwing up the world anymore.
Well, we talk about Only Murders in the Building because I'll watch the new episode tonight. And what other news comes up. And we'll talk about Batgirl. And maybe we're starting to get a better picture of what's going to happen to Warner Brothers, or at least why their San Diego Con panel was so crappy.
And then on Thursday, Dan will have canceled his show. But then next week, we will be back probably on Tuesday to discuss Sandman number 1. Sandman episode 1.
I think Jay should do my show on Thursday.
I think that's a terrible idea.
Oh, I think it's a wonderful idea.
I mean, it wouldn't be hard. You could just get a guest and interview him.
You talk about the demise of the Arrowverse.
Yeah.
Just give the whole damn thing to Bruce Timm. Just give it to Bruce Timm.
That's actually not a bad idea. Paul Dini and Bruce Timm, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
By the way, Dan, at some point when the season's over, we should do a Harley Quinn season 3 recap on the show.
Yeah, that means I need to watch the rest of season 1 and all of season 2 and then watch season 3.
Nope. Were you a 12-year-old boy once?
I believe so.
Then you understand everything in season 3 so far.
Okay.
All right, guys, head over to Comic Shop Locator. Get your fix from comic shops near you this week. We'll be back later on with other shows, and we'll be back next week with more comics. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow the experience, do all the things, and we will see you next time.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Join the party. Head over to our Linktree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.